Sorry, this is a little... It's not spicy. Like, the run is in a really amazing spot, honestly, but this is the kind of room where if you just don't pay attention for a second, things can start to sour on you pretty quickly, you know? Like milk where you didn't check the best before date. Now, I know we're in... Okay, golden chest is good. Golden chest... I walked on the spike. That could have been devastating. I got a bone to pick, okay? I was at the grocery store yesterday. My wife needed some apples. I think I mentioned this already. I was at the grocery... Oh, I was mentioned on the NLSS. But an apple, you don't want any softness. You want to squeeze it and feel that firmness. A pear, in my opinion, you want a little softness. I think a pear is a misunderstood fruit. A lot of people eat pear, and they go, it tastes like sweet wood. It's just too hard. You want a pear that's slightly over-ripened, in my opinion. You like what you like, but that's what I like. But anyway, is I was at the grocery store, and here's my bone to pick. You know, I was talking about how it soured quickly, like milk where you didn't check the expiration date. My wife wanted bread from the grocery store. I go to the grocery store on April 8th. Look at the loaves of bread. First one I pick up. Best before April 9th. I'm not trying to cause problems for the grocery store. And I understand that you got a lot of inventory. It's hard to, you know, manage that and audit that on a, you know, one-to-one basis so things like this don't slip through. On the other hand, I also just want to ask like a hypothetical question. You really expect anybody out there to eat a loaf of bread in a single day? If I'm making a sandwich, if I'm making toast, if I'm in advance of the best before day, I have no lack of confidence whatsoever. I get the bread, I give it a cursory glance, maybe pop it in the toaster, we're good to go. On the best before day, the expiry date, if you will, the past due date, I look at it, and I look very carefully, more carefully than I would in other circumstances, spots of mold or otherwise, you know, edible degradation. And if it looks good to go, I'm okay. If I'm starting to eat bread after the expiry date, that's where I am like, I'm getting out the magnifying glass. And I gotta be honest, it compromises the quality of the meal that you make from it. Not because it tastes worse necessarily, but because every, perhaps, suspicious taste, all of a sudden you're like, I just ate a big clump of mold. Even if you didn't, in your head, you're like, that's what's happening right now. I don't know, I don't want to be picking up and putting down a bunch of stuff in the grocery store right now, but I will pick up and put down a loaf of bread that goes bad in 24 hours. There is no way me and my wife are going to eat 12 slices of bread in 24 hours. I've never asked to speak to somebody's manager, and this would not be the thing to do it. But I did kind of want to, you know, pull one of the employees aside and be like, hey, you and me, we're on the same page, you know? I'm hip, I'm cool, I'm with it. But at the same time, what's up with this bread? Is that like a corporate mandate? I know you don't want the optics of the bread being past due, which is what it's going to be like, you know, tomorrow or in a day or two. But you really think anyone's going to buy that bread without being tricked? I don't see it. Like, can I tell you that what my first world problem is with the grocery stores right now? They're no longer taking reusable bags out of an abundance of precaution. I'm not going to be the guy who's like, really? Reusable bags? But, you know, it's an important foundational element of the bit here. So now, you know, previously when you would go to the grocery store, they would be like, do you need plastic bags? And you pay 5 cents a bag. In order to discourage you from using single-use plastics. Now, when you go to the grocery store, they don't even accept reusable bags. But they still ask you, do you need bags? And, like, if you're getting, like, one thing, I understand. Like, if you bought, like, a case of Diet Coke or something like that, you'd be like, no, I'll just take it. But I got, like, 8 Fuji apples, 9 navel oranges, 4 calling birds, 3 French hens, 2 turtle doves, and a partridge in a pear tree. Yes, I would like a bag, please. And I don't want to get weird about it, but just hear me out on this one. Human beings are just different computers. They're like computers made of meat. At least in that situation. Like, I know this sounds bizarre. I'm not suggesting that, and I don't think any of those are worth taking, to be honest with you. I'm not suggesting human beings don't have emotions. I'm not suggesting they don't have dreams and desires, etc., etc. But you're not going to see the bank teller because they have dreams and desires. You're going to see the bank teller because they take a piece of paper that you have and they convert that piece of paper into a number, and then they apply that number to a row in a database, you know? Does that sound familiar? That is basically querying a database to get some information or edit some information. So the human being, in that sense, is basically just it's just a processing unit completing a task. And if we're distilling it down to that basic level, for most tasks, I would much rather rely on the power of silicone instead of carbon, you know? But I trust the computer above all else. In fact, really what I should say is that if I think something's wrong with the computer system, I would be more likely to blame a human being. I'm just going to level with you. I don't think RoboBaby's good enough to even do that room, believe it or not. I would assume that it's some, you know, bad actor is in the background that's like, hey, let's adjust these bread prices and collude in order to make sure that people pay too much for bread. Let's talk about how valuable the free market is while simultaneously forming a bread cartel to circumvent what I have called the invisible hand. That's not apropos of anything at all. You know what's making a comeback that I think is cool, but also reminds me that, you know, there are various, you know, no two people on this planet are alike. Have you seen, and this has been going on for a couple of years. Get to the point. Okay, fine, I will. Have you seen that, like, coloring books are making a comeback for adults? I wouldn't say I have complicated opinions on this. I think there's an immediately dismissive part of me that is like, wow, instead of using a coloring book, have you ever considered getting a job? Which is just a ridiculous statement. I'm sure everybody using this is, well, I'm sure not a disproportionately high number of people that are using adult coloring books are unemployed. It's a needlessly contrarian aspect of myself that I've been working to contain for many years, and I think I've done a very good job, but occasionally I let it surface just to remind myself how bad of a look it is. My opinion on that stuff is whatever floats your boat, A-okay. I, from kindergarten onwards, started a decade-long timer counting down to the last time I would ever have to do arts and crafts in school. I am not an uncreative guy, and scholastically, I really liked English class. I like writing, and I like public speaking, which can be creative mediums, right? But when it comes to art, I'm just like, I mean, you've seen me play Scribble, which is like Pictionary, on the NLSS probably. I'm not going to say I'm incapable of drawing, because I don't believe that that's true. But drawing does not come naturally to me, and it was always very frustrating in school, because when we did like math, I was like, I got it. And we did like writing, I was like, under control. And then they were like, draw a picture of a turkey, and I was like, I don't know what the heck's happening. And I am not getting praise. I'm used to getting praise. Now I've put more effort into drawing this turkey than I did into the last, like, 6 papers I wrote. And you gave me a C? This is also the first run of the day. Now, I'm not making excuses. Rather, I'm saying, oh no, that we're in a great spot. Because my brain glycogen has not been depleted yet. This is a bit of a cursed start. There's no doubt about that. So here's what you do. You keep this champion as far away from you as is humanly possible. I do not like a champion that can jump very far, deceptively far. I do not like a champion that can shoot bullets very far. I don't like it very much at all. Kind of a cursed first room. But you know what we do? You take a deep breath. You just go, aha. Aha! And by doing that, I've created a situation, admittedly, still kind of scary. So I'm I'm not mad or whatever. I'm just like, my man, you can't give us stats this bad and then also give us no range. That's all I'm saying. I'm not, like, we could make it work if you would just give us a little bit of range. Yes! You genius! Oh, exhale, baby. So I'm gonna do something basically stupid. I'm gonna walk on the spike to pick this up. The reason I'm doing that, though you may think me a fool, is that I think I want to spend this bomb on the... But we're not even gonna get to the stone chest, dude. What were you thinking? That was not a good move. When will you learn that your actions have consequences, you frickin' fricks? It's a very good time for me to start fights in public, because I have a pregnant wife. I know, like, I've already mentioned in an Isaac episode. If you are pregnant, I really do recommend leveraging that as much as possible. I don't think you should be manipulative, but if you want something, you should ask for it. And then if they're like, well, why should I do that? You should go, I'm with child. But pregnant husband, I don't think well, I know you don't get as much leeway, but I think we could lean on that a little bit in public. You know, we'd be like, excuse me, can I get to the apples? Then they go, hey buddy, what's the rush? And you go, oh, I'm sorry, you appear to have wandered into my rhetorical trap. My wife is pregnant. They'll be like, oh crap. Ladies and gentlemen, he got me. So it's very exciting for me, the possibility that we might be about to hit 50 runs in a row. Mentally, I've got to admit, there's differences in how you feel about a streak. A streak that gets to 5 does not feel as meaningful as a streak that gets from 45 to 50. So we're in very rare air. I've only been here maybe 3 times, you know? It's quite exciting. They've never seen so many wins as this. Usually there's half as many wins as this. The wins are their money. The streak is their dollars. You know, you get the idea. I think you should. Yes, I know. So I posted a tweet that was like, these are my 2 favorite indie games of the year. And it actually should have been 3 because I forgot Hades. But it was Stone Shard and One Step from Eden. And somebody replied and said, I'm sensing a bit of a roguelite bias here. It's not a bias. It's like, it's personal preference. Which I guess is bias, but it's like, so what? It's personal preference. We're free. A little spiced, but, ladies and gentlemen, 50 wins in a row on quarantine. How about that? For now, I'm staying copacetic. I'm staying on the level. I'm staying frosty, whatever the heck that means. Still don't really understand. If anything, you ever try to play like Guitar Hero with super cold hands? That's a Canadian classic from back in the mid to late 2000s. Your fingers, they take a little time to warm up. I wouldn't recommend, you know, doing your esports Clone Hero AGDQ run when you've just come in from the harsh winter. If anything, you should be staying warm, right? That's why they say warmed up. What the heck does stay frosty mean? I guess it's like a frosty demeanor. You want a cool head, but warm hands. Which I believe is an Interpol song. You don't have to sweat that. Or you do have to sweat. You should. I don't know. Frost, sweat, warm hands. There's too many different temperatures to keep my body at here. I don't have control of that. That's up to the limbic system, okay? This not being an XL floor is kind of throwing me right now. I just, like, why? What did any of us gain from that right there? A single orbital basically maybe doesn't quite give us the win, but it takes us 98.934% of the way there. And that's not an arbitrary number. I ran it through the old brain processor and came up with that number. And if you think that I didn't, what, you doubt me? You doubt me? You doubt the honor of a soon-to-be parent? How dare you? Where do you freaking get off thinking you can treat people like that? It's ridiculous. The only annoying part of my day is I went to go to the pharmacy today. And again, trust me when I say I understand the reason for why it was like this. However, I was like, I just need one thing from the pharmacy. I got there. It was like a 200-foot lineup. I don't think we can actually get that. So it was like 30 people deep just to get into the pharmacy. And I was like, that's it. That's the only problem with my day. Again, I understand we're in special circumstances. I consider it a privilege. I feel like some people would have that reaction, and I say some people because I've seen them on Twitter. They would see that situation and be like, you know, a 45-minute wait to buy medicine. Is the cure worse than the disease? This one goes out to the guy in the comments who says, I cringe every time he picks up the left hand. I know for a fact he's not going to drop it. We're going to find out today whether you want me to drop it or if you just want to feel right. Your response to this situation we find ourselves in right now is going to reveal a lot about you, a lot about me, and a lot about living and a little about love. You know that one? Well, freaking way down yonder at the Chattahoochee, it gets hotter than a hoochie smoochie. Have some understanding. There you go. We dropped the left hand. I told you I'm good for it. It's a new era, baby. I had a tweet that went viral, you know? Relatively viral, at least by my standards. I was in line for the pharmacy, because that's how we do it now. Please? Just a couple of demon hearts. So I was in line, I don't know, I was like 6 or 7 people back in the line. And, we're all standing 2 meters away. We're standing outside of the pharmacy on X's that have been taped onto the ground so that we can, you know, maintain social distancing and also some semblance of order. And we're all standing there. And then this lady just walks up. And she walks right up to the security guard, who is making sure not too many of us go in to buy medicine at any one given time. And she goes, excuse me, I just need to get into the pharmacy. That part of the story is 100% true. I just cannot fathom the situation where you see what is clearly a lineup. And I don't know, I guess you're just shooting your shot, right? You're like, maybe this is a lineup for something different. Even though there's nothing else around here. And you just sort of go for it, I guess. I guess all I can really think about conceptually is that this is a person who was like, hey, it doesn't cost anything to ask, or alternatively, and this is the more troubling thing, she thought that she only needed to be in the pharmacy for a minute, so her needs superseded our needs, because everybody else was like, I don't know, I just felt like going to the pharmacy today and walking around for an hour, or something like that. Suffice it to say, the security guard very politely told her there's a line, and then everybody in the line looked at her with a little sidelong glance as she walked by. So that should give you some idea of where I stand right now. I'm not really leading the most exciting life, but that's the way like it should be right now, I think. Full stop. I mean, that's it. It's just that, and you want me to repeat the story about how every time I go to the grocery store, they still ask me if I need bags, even though we're not even allowed to use our bags from home anymore. I mean, we played that one out, right? That's like a greatest hit. How many times can we use that exact same bit over and over? All right, fine. I was at the grocery store. No, we're not gonna do that. Why do we have to use so many words for the same thing? Like, you know, credible, trusted, incredible, amazing, flammable, can be set on fire, inflammable, can be set on fire? What's happening here? Who designed this? Now again, I have a chip on my shoulder, and I gotta be honest, I really I have a controversial opinion on this that a lot of people don't like. And that's not insincere. By which I mean the opposite of sincere, not that it can be set on sincerity. See, that was a callback to the lexicographical joke about the... Okay, you get it. You get it. You got it. If you don't get it, just do what everybody does when you don't get a joke. But some people are pretending to get the joke. You just go, yeah, I got it. And then if someone goes, can you explain it to me? You go, nah, you'd enjoy it more if you figured it out for yourself. It's the perfect cover. Anyway, my controversial opinion. Yes, I really feel like both shame, spite, and revenge are very powerful motivators. I don't think they are as pure of a motivation as doing something because you want to do it. Like, take it from somebody that went from, you know, a little schlubby to, like, slightly more dad bod-esque, at least, over the course of the past, like, year and a half. The motivation that's like, you know, some kid called me chubby, so I'm gonna get yoked. You know, if it works for you, it works for you. But it's not gonna hold a candle long term to, like, I'm gonna do this because I want to take care of myself and also, like, live a better life and live longer. That's gonna get you more mileage. But for a short-term boost of very powerful motivation, spite can do it for you. I saw one comment in a sea of otherwise positive comments. I did the YouTuber thing, picked out the comment that isn't even negative, just a little bit snarky, and went, that's my guy. Target acquired. Every time NL gets the left hand, I stop watching, because I already know he's not going to drop it for the chest. Yeah? Well, we dropped it for the chest last time. We're going to drop it for the chest this time. Then we're going to go to Idaho. Then we're going to go to Minnesota. Then we're going to go to Wisconsin. And whoa! Anybody get that? That's a Howard Dean reference. Yes, it's a Howard Dean reference. For now, thanks for watching. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. If you did, click the like button. Helps out a great deal. Of course, subscribe if you want to see more in the future. For now, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. See ya!